Ecclesiastes 4, 9 and 10. Ecclesiastes 4, 9 and 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, what happens? The one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Now, this is strictly a relationship text. Don't mind to feel bad. There's nobody in your life right now. This is a relationship text. It could apply to friendship, but we're going to apply it to choosing a mate. Mating is a part of God's plan. Two can help each other. Now, note the text suggests, though, that there can be a falling. There can be a what? There can be what? A falling. A falling. And a need for help. Key to a healthy relationship is the balancing of strengths and weaknesses. See, if you're getting involved with someone, you need to ask yourself this question: what do they bring that helps me? I'm not talking about a check now. What do they bring that helps me, that lifts me? And this is where the knowledge of temperament is necessary. See, if you're sanguine, you need someone with a steadier nature. If you're melancholic, you need someone who's more positive and faith-filled. If you are phlegmatic, you need someone who is bolder. Let's get it done now in your life. If you're choleric, you need someone calmer, less controlling in your space. No wonder in the book's Mind, Character, and Personality, Ron Gaston, Ellen White says that we should spend more time knowing ourselves before we seek to know another. See, what do you need emotionally from a person? Where are you bent and they are straight? And that's why when they often say to the unmarrieds, look at the person you're spending time with. Listen to your pastor now. Look at the person you're spending time with and ask yourself, if the worst thing you know about them does not change, can you live with it for the next 40 years? And if you can't give a definite yes, back on out of that thing. Just say, I appreciate you. Don't call me anymore. But I appreciate you. You filled some time in my life. But no more. And you see, we should always be nice as Christians, but the excuse I hear, the excuses, well, I didn't want to hurt their feelings. So you're going to be miserable for 40 years? Hurt their feelings and move on. You heard me say that. Well, Pastor, is it Christian to hurt people's feelings? To be saved? Yes. And we need to deal with things early on. See, I don't buy this one. I don't buy this one. Here's one I hear all the time. If I had known. Let me sit down, Alan. I believe with all my heart, Loretta, I'll put money on this, that a person who is praying and seeking the Lord and living right themselves, the Lord gives you signals way ahead of time. Don't hand me that stuff. If I had known, you knew, you saw it, you passed over it, you pushed it aside, talked yourself around it, acted like you did not see it because you wanted the person. God does not make fools out of his people. So what does your potential partner bring to the relationship besides looks? They fade. They fade. You know, some people hold it longer, but sooner or later, it fades. It gets loose. It drops. It's no longer there. And if you don't have something going for you, I'm trying to keep a straight face on this part of the sermon. If you don't have something else going for you, you're in bad shape. You wake up one morning, you say, what? What does the person bring to the relationship besides looks, property, a degree in some field, maybe a paycheck? But more, what spiritual qualities do they bring that will inspire and assist you to the kingdom of glory? Now remember, it's the Spirit of God who heightens your spiritual understanding. And he won't lie to you. And sometimes, and some of you know I'm telling the truth, you'll be in a relationship with a person and something is said or done that's a warning. And you hear, your mind says, uh-oh. Why would you go back there? You know, there are two ways to be alone. There are two ways to be alone. One way is to be by yourself. But a worse aloneness, hear the pastor, a worse form of aloneness is to be in a relationship and discover that when you do fall and you do have a need, your partner lacks the stuff. Now that's really alone. 2 Corinthians 6, 14 through 17. You know I was going to read this one. Some of you are tightening up already, getting tight in your seat. Well, just stay tight because I'm going to read the text. We do not want to hear this one. 2 Corinthians 6, 14 through 17. Be ye not. Yeah, I'm going to read this one. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Now, the first reaction, of course, for folks who've done this, they just tighten right up. Tighten right up. Or they'll say, well, there's lots of ways to be unequally yoked. The text is not talking about lots of ways. It's talking about this way. Let me keep reading. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? Watch the text now. And what accord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are, watch it now. See, we don't read this text right. Ye are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I will dwell in them. See, it's talking to people who have God dwelling in them. How are you going to yoke yourself with someone who doesn't have God dwelling in them? It's a spiritual text. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate. Now, as I said before, folks immediately get defensive when this text is read. But this text is about my opening statement. The choice you make reflects your spiritual level at the time. This text is saying, only get tied up with folk on your spiritual level. This text is saying, do not drop the bar of your standards for the sake of having someone in your life. This text is saying, it's not just about marriage, it's about close affiliations, period. This text is making the spiritual the first criteria for a relationship. This text knows there are other ways to be unequally yoked. You got a job, he doesn't. That's unequal. This text knows that. This text is saying, before you talk about job, before you talk about looks, before you talk about sports, before you talk about common interests, this text is saying the first measurement is spiritual. And if you don't start there, you're going to mess up. That's all this text is saying.